my thing.
Luka got him kicked out.
Somebody's got to score because Kristaps was out. Let's just put it in perspective.
All right,
That's fair. That's fair.
Here we go. The Rockets will be without Russell Westbrook tonight, game 1 against the OKC Thunder. Russ still nursing a quad injury, but it did take some time to pop into LeBron's media session, let him know just how his injury was progressing. Take a listen.
We just want AD just to be, hey, my guy. Hey, buddy. Yeah, I'm good. How you doing? How's the quad? Yeah, good.
By the way, Russ tweeting, locked in, see y'all later. I don't know if that means game 2 or what, but if you let that video play out, he had a big old bandage around his quad, Russ, as he was walking out. Nick, how should the Rockets fans feel about this?
Well, I mean, I suppose it's positive news. That doesn't sound like or look like Broussard, the tweet from a man who thinks he's going to miss the whole series. I mean, I think he's pretty obviously not playing today, but does it now open the door that he could play as early as game 3? I don't think game 2 is likely either. I suppose, yeah. And I mean, I do think the Rockets could win the series even if he doesn't play. But if he does play starting with game 3, they will win the series. So it's obviously, you know, if you want to read something into the tweet and his comment to LeBron, it's good news, Broussard.
Yeah, it does seem optimistic, but if he misses game 2, Nick, I think the Rockets are in big trouble. I don't know that he can miss the first 2 games and they win this series. Look, James Harden is terrific. They do have some nice other players. But you know Mike D'Antoni's not going to make nary an adjustment. Not one. Okay, go out the same way they play with Russ. And OKC can match up with them with the short and small ball players, their guards, exploit them with Steven Adams inside. I got OKC in 6 unless Russ gets back for game 2.
So, Broussard, I'll kick it to you. If the Rockets won big, do you think Russ would sit longer if they won big tonight?
Honestly, if he's ready to play, I think they're going to put him out there whenever he's ready. Win or lose.
Okay. All right. Moving on, we got a 1 seed versus an 8 seed. Not your typical 1 versus 8. Nothing typical about these playoffs. Lakers, Blazers. LeBron James knows how tough tonight will be. Take a listen.
This is the toughest, championship run for me personally, from the circumstances of just being in here. So how do you approach it? I don't know yet. I lock in. I've been locked in for the last couple of days once I knew Portland was our opponent. And that's really the only thing I've pretty much been thinking about. And I prepare as the same way. Just some other things changed, as if you were, in different previous seasons. But as far as me being locked in, that doesn't change.
Nick, you like this dialed-in, locked-in, zoned-in approach by LeBron James, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, he's not going to do the zero dark 23 on social media the way he has in years past because he said what's going on in the world is too important right now. He needs to have a voice there as well. So you're not going to see that side of it, or I guess you are going to see that side of it, him online during the postseason, which you're not used to. But I thought a couple parts of this were really interesting. One is he's being honest about how difficult this time has been for him, and I think a lot of that is just being away from his family. He talked about how pre-bubble, during the quarantine, it was the longest time he had gone without seeing his mother in his entire life. And now he's had to go this last month. And obviously, this is the case for every player in the bubble. So LeBron's not unique here, but he's the one who was talking without seeing his wife and seeing his kids. And we know how close of a family unit they have. But what Broussard, to me, my other big takeaway was, A, he's already calling it a championship run, which he should. And B, he's also talking about the degree of difficulty, which when the Lakers win the title, and they win a title with no home games, having their reward for being the 1 seed is to play the first ever team that is coming in the playoffs as an 8 seed this hot, thanks to a first ever play-in tournament. It will be one of, we'll see who they have to play throughout, but most difficult paths to a title we've ever seen, because the whole point of getting the 1 seed is to get the game 1 and game 7 at home, and they, of course, might as well have been the 8 seed like Portland is. And so I agree, these are very unique circumstances, and Chris, it's why I thought this whole nonsense that, there might be an asterisk on this title was absolutely backwards. Whoever wins this title, the road there is going to be one of the all-time most difficult, not one where you're like, that's half a title. It's more like a title and a half when we see this full thing play out.
No, I agree with you. I never put asterisks on title, or it has to be some incredible circumstance for me to do it. So I would not have put an asterisk on this title. Look, because they're all playing under the same circumstances, every single one of them. And I do agree, like what you said, LeBron misses his family. I mean, we all see how much of a family guy he is, and everyone is, of course. But some guys are going to be affected by it more than others. I definitely think he's made comments just over the past few weeks that led you to see how very hard this is on him to be away from his wife and children, his mom, and all of that. So I think that's what LeBron was referring to. Also, look, he's 35 years old. He had 4 months off the bubble. We were wondering, okay, will LeBron come back rested or rusty? I think he came back both. He was rested, but he also was rusty. There's no question about that. And I think when you're 35, I've had players tell me, as they hit maybe the midway point of their career, certainly the latter point, it takes you longer to get going. It might take you the first 20 to 25 games to really get to where you want to be as far as in basketball shape and your game where it's at. And I think we've seen that with LeBron. Now, I don't know that it's going to take, I don't think it'll take 20 games, but I think in the bubble, he wasn't quite himself. He had his moments, of course. But I think that's a part of this, too. At 35, 17th year in the league, coming off from 4 months, he's got to really work hard to get back to where he wants to be. And he needs to do it pronto because, as you said, they got a tough AC matchup.
Okay, so both of you guys are saying no asterisk, but we know that the majority of NBA championships are won by the 1, 2, or 3 seeds. So if a 7 or an 8 seed wins the championship, like, Damian Lillard wins it, no asterisk talk, we heard it. This is the other reason this is tough for him, Nick, and it's not about all his opponents. On the court, plus 8.5. Off the court, minus 1.9. Differential of 10 points. So I don't know if he's talking about Dame Lillard and James Harden, who we might not even face. He might be talking about his supporting cast here. I don't actually think he is. And then we have, like, Broussard, to what you were saying, there's been some brutal stretches in the last game. And, Nick, I know you're saying, like, oh, he's just getting a little workout in. But that last, game 8 of the bubble stretch, that sequence that I believe, called cyberbullying, because I asked Hubbard to put it up. I think we got to hope that this guy locks in and we see the old LeBron. I'm not nearly as confident as you guys are.
Okay, well then,
that's
listen,
you've been singing
Wilds.
Blazers praises.
Well, and
ahead,
it's
Nick.
also this is a relatively common affliction for folks to, and we shouldn't act like either of these things is new. One, that LeBron teams, when he goes off the court, fall apart. Broussard's talked about this a lot. He's an offense unto himself. And even the team that won the championship with Kyrie and Kevin Love in 2016, when he left the court, that team was a negative, plus minus, a negative in the differential. But the other thing that's not uncommon is for folks to judge a lackadaisical and unmotivated end-of-season LeBron James and say, oh, this is the year. This is the year the Cavs don't get out of the East. This is the year someone takes his crown, and every single year, those people look like dopes. So as a friend, Wilds, it makes me sad that you're going to join the legions of dopes, but it's such is life, I suppose, Jenna.
Well,
it is what it is. I guess, yeah, maybe.
If LeBron does have rust, he's got either 12 or 13 hours to figure out a way to brush it off. Could the Mavs have taken down the Clippers last night if not for Kristaps Porzingis' ejection? We discuss next. First things first.
There's another goal.